What's up, gamers? I hope you guys are all having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because, you know what, I think this is going to be a pretty controversial video, man. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of Redditors that are too happy about the energy that I'm going to be keeping here, but, you know, if there's anything I try to aspire to do on this YouTube channel, it is, in fact, to be able to
keep that same energy.
So for the past, I guess, what, year and a half now at this point almost, I have literally been saying the exact same thing about Halo Infinite since the game released. The game has no content, the management from the top down seems to be completely incompetent, they don't know how to develop a multiplayer game, all of the content they need to put in this game is literally sitting there on a hard drive in their office from previous games. They could literally port over the massive back catalog of multiplayer content from damn near every other Halo game that has ever existed up until this point, and for some reason 343 has chosen just to straight up not support Halo Infinite and focus on all the stuff that does not matter. I have been singing this tune for over a year now that there is incompetence from the top down when it comes to 343, and I believe 100% that most of that issue arises from the management prioritizing the wrong things and just straight up not utilizing their resources properly, instead focusing on crappy monetization, which, let's face it, if nobody's playing your game in the first place, nobody's spending money on it, so a lot of good that does. Like, oh great, we can make more money from the people who still play it. One problem, nobody plays this game anymore because it's absolutely fucking dead. So I think what has happened, and this is where the controversial take comes into play,
this is where the fun begins.
I think Microsoft gutting the shit out of 343's leadership is the best decision they have made in a very, very, very long time when it comes to anything related to Microsoft's first-party studios. And I can already sense the Redditors fuming with rage. Are you advocating for people to lose their jobs? Abso-fucking-lutely. If they can't do their job, they have no right to keep their job. If you slacked off at your office job, didn't fucking deliver anything after having an unlimited budget and 6 years to work on it, and this is like your company's prime product, this is what they're known for, this is the thing that makes the company successful, and you fuck around for those 6 years, release a half-assed product that loses, what, 98% of its player base after the first month? Do you really think you would keep that job? Fuck no, you wouldn't. You would be out the door the next week, no sympathy, no one would cry you a river, no Twitter threads about how sad people are about you losing your job. You did not perform your job in the time allotted with the resources at your disposal. Why are we feeling bad for people who could not execute? We're talking about management here. We're not talking about, oh, Jerry in the animation department. We're talking about multiplayer leads, story leads, co-op leads, you know, people who were actually in charge of this entire project and managed the people under them, assigning them tasks and priorities to make this game a success. Microsoft gutting the leadership here is exactly what I've been saying needed to happen for a very long time. I'm just surprised it took them this long, to be honest. Like, in any other job, these people would have been gone and out the door without a moment's hesitation, but for some reason, people hold game developers in a very different light. So honestly, I am glad to see Microsoft actually having some heads rolling here, because someone needs to be held accountable, and it is, at the end of the day, management's fault. Again, I'm not talking about the small little developers, like, oh, the guy that made fucking Craig the Brute. Like, no, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about team leads who have an actual and tangible impact on the direction and progress that Halo Infinite makes when it comes to its development cycle. People who actually have influence on what the final product that's delivered to customers is. Those are the people who should be held accountable, not the people carrying out orders in the office. So if people like that were fired, I do feel bad for those people, but management, absolutely not. They own this fucking mess. It's their fuck up at the end of the day, and they need to take accountability for that fact. So, you know, I guess this is probably going to be a pretty controversial opinion. I don't really know why it would be, because again, in any other industry, in any other job, you're not getting a Twitter thread, you're not getting sympathy points on Reddit, no one fucking cares. You don't do your job effectively, you get fired. Welcome to the real world, game developers. Like, I just don't understand where this, like, you know, boo-hoo sense of sympathy comes from for people who literally failed. Like, this was a $500 million game apparently that literally barely has 2,000 people playing it on Steam right now, and it's free to play. Like, how can anyone look at a game in that situation and be like, yeah, this was a great success, those people did a great job, we should definitely keep that management team on board? Like, fuck no. Get them out the door. They ruined Microsoft's biggest franchise in their entire portfolio. Like, they single-handedly did that shit, so they need to be held accountable for that fact. So I just don't really understand where this sympathy is coming from personally. I think this is long overdue, and this has been a culture I think I've noticed a lot at Microsoft, where it just seems like a lot of their internal development teams just kind of have like this attitude of leaning back in their office chair, kicking their feet up on the desk and saying, oh, it'll get done when it gets done. I mean, look at Microsoft's first-party output, for example. I mean, multi-trillion-dollar company here, more money than fucking God. They could literally put out a game whenever and however they wanted to, but compare their first-party output to something like Sony or Nintendo. No matter how many studios it seems Microsoft acquires, their first-party output gets worse. It's amazing to me. The more money they spend on video games, the worse and fewer games we actually get from them, versus like the 360 and Xbox One generation early on. Whereas Nintendo and Sony, you know, they're out here like they're worth a couple like tens of billions of dollars each, but they have a continuous flow of genre-defining games in their portfolio. Like, Sony always one-ups itself. Nintendo puts out consistently the best family, platformer, and just kind of niche games in their portfolio that you really can't get anywhere else, and the same can be said with Sony. They lead the industry in like this narrative-driven movie-type game, so they've identified a niche, and they make those type of games better than everyone. Microsoft, on the other hand, what the fuck are they even doing over there, dude? Like, it's an absolute shit show, and they're once genre-defining games. Let's not forget, Halo used to define the first-person shooter genre. Gears of War used to define the third-person shooter genre. Both of those games are in a state of ill repair, and it's like those games are almost completely irrelevant these days. I mean, look at the fucking player counts on Steam, for example. Like, you're lucky to see 3,000 people playing Halo Infinite at any given time, and it's a free-to-play game. More people are playing the God of War single-player campaign a lot of times on Steam, which is like a full-priced game, by the way, than people are playing a free-to-play Halo multiplayer game. Just keep that shit in mind for a second. Like, that is absolutely fucking mind-blowing, and really just speaks volumes to the current state of Xbox as a first-party developer and the absolute shit show that was Halo Infinite. So again, I do not understand how anyone can be in a position thinking these people who were directly responsible for setting the direction, goals, tasks, and priorities of a game like Halo Infinite should keep their job when you look at the game and look at the current state that it's in. It's an absolute fucking joke. There are mobile games that get better content support from a 5-man team in fucking South Korea than Microsoft, a multi-trillion-dollar company, is delivering with Halo Infinite's multiplayer experience. That is unacceptable, and in any other job, these people would have been out the door a long-ass time ago. No fucking violin playing in the background. No one would give a shit, and everybody would move on with their lives. But for some reason, because they're in the video game industry, and you know, everyone on Twitter for some reason has a massive hard-on for anyone who calls themselves a game dev, we're supposed to feel sympathy for people who literally displayed incompetence on the greatest level I think I have ever seen in the entirety of the video game industry. They took one of the most prolific multiplayer shooters of all time and made that shit irrelevant. How the fuck are you gonna sit there and act like these people deserve to keep their jobs when if you even show up late for work one day, you might lose yours? Are we really gonna sit here? I mean, this is like the Helena Taylor drama all again. People were really in white knight mode over the fact that this woman was literally making $250 an hour speaking into a microphone. How many of you all are making $250 an hour? It's just incredible to me that people hold people in the video game industry to this different standard. I have been saying this from the very beginning. The management at 343 needed to go. Good job, Microsoft. I'm very critical of Xbox, very critical of Phil Spencer, but I think the right decision was made here. These people were toxic. They didn't get the job done. They killed Halo Infinite, and they needed to be held accountable. And And the only hope that Halo Infinite had, which is what I've been saying for over a year at this point, is to completely gut the studio management, bring in new people who can actually do their job and set a new direction for this franchise, because other than that, there is no saving Halo at this point. I don't even think Halo Infinite can make a redemption arc. Like, I know there's a lot of similarities to, like, Sea of Thieves, for example. Sea of Thieves launched in a very similar state to Halo Infinite. There was, like, literally nothing to do, and progressively over the years, it got really good. So maybe Halo Infinite can make a recovery run like that. But in my personal opinion, I think the best course of action would be forget Halo Infinite and move on to the next game and try again and start with a clean slate, because I think the game is just too far gone at this point. But only time will tell, man. Sorry if I got a little heated in this video, but it just drives me insane talking about Halo, bro, because, like, literally, I have 2,400 hours in Halo MCC. I love this franchise. Halo 5 is my personal favorite Halo game, so I don't have this huge hate boner for 343. I know they can make great games, and I know what they're capable of, which is what pisses me off so much about Halo Infinite. What was my most anticipated game of 2021 turned out to be one of the most disappointing games I have ever played in my time as a gamer. So, I don't know, man. This is coming from a place of love, frustration, and just being pissed off for a long time. So, thanks for bearing with me through this wonderful ranty video. So, I hope you guys all have a great day. Drop a like on this video if you agreed with anything I said. And yeah, I will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much for all the support, guys.